Best-selling author and American psychologist Mary Pfeiffer said this: "We live in a world filled with language. Language imparts identity, meaning, and perspective to our human community. Writers are either polluters or part of the cleanup team. Just as the language of power and greed has the potential to destroy us, the language of reason and empathy has the power to save us. Writers can inspire a kinder, fairer, more beautiful world, or invite selfishness, stereotyping, and violence. Writers can unite people or divide them." In this book show podcast, host, confidence coach Susan Axelrod asks women authors a simple question: which kind of writer are you? She invites each guest to step into the confidence zone to proclaim how her book can inspire. If you are seeking inspiration to create your legacy, take out your pen and pad. Your book, My Time, starts now. Hello, friends. I have my pen and pad for this episode of my book show podcast, Your Book, My Time. I have my pen and pad out because I've been reading the writings of today's author, Tanya J. Miller. Tanya is a coach, author, speaker, and strategist with a passion for helping people and organizations figure out how to do life and leadership, wait for it, unapologetically, on purpose. Tanya's an extraordinary individual. She found me, reached out, and I'm like, yes, woman, of course you're going to be on my podcast. So I want to welcome Tanya J. Miller to the Book Show podcast. Tanya, hey.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Susan. I don't know, morning, afternoon, evening.
You covered all the bases. This is a global podcast and is seen by people around the world. So we cover all the time zones. I want to say hello.
Hello.
Good to meet you. Good to know you. But even better to know about your work, Tanya, being unapologetically on purpose.
Yes. I mean, it's like a loaded word, and I used it on purpose because literally just that one word, unapologetically, describes me. Like, when I've had friends say, she's quiet, but if she talks, you better listen. I was like, don't say that about me. They're like, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
If she talks, you better listen. Friends, I want you to find Tanya J. Miller's website because she's talking every day on her blog there. And what she has to say is important. She's helping us understand purpose, passion, vision, and destiny. And Tanya, honestly, my website is called whatwillyourlegacybe.com.
I love that.
Yeah, so our messages are very synchronistic. Tanya, in your work, I see the word ministry a lot, that you're on a ministry to minister unapologetic purposefulness. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah. A lot of times you get the fluff or you get the puffiness. I'm regular degular. Yeah. I'm just me. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do on purpose. And that's how you're gonna get me. And hopefully that's how you're gonna receive everything we talk about today and any other time you see me.
I keep saying 10 to 15 years, but it's more like 15 to 20 years for me now that I've been studying and pursuing the online business model, because many years ago, I made a decision that I wanted to be able to do my work wherever I went because my daughter moved away and my other daughter moved away and family and this and that. And so I wanted to be able to be wherever I was. Honestly, there's so much fluff online. And so for women like us to show up unapologetically in total purposefulness is all about your fourth book, which is what I want to talk about today. The Me Project, that's M-E for motivated effort. So Tanya, I want to ask you to share with us, what is the story behind your story?
Wow. You just asked like 5 questions in one. gosh, Susan, the story behind my story, I'm just going to give you guys 2022 version. The story behind the story is when everybody else was living out the pandemic, I had just got diagnosed with chronic neural Lyme disease, among other stuff. And so everybody was like, oh, COVID this, COVID that. And people will like now ask me stuff about it. I'm like, I don't even know. Like I was just trying to survive. I was trying to live. I was trying not to feel like I want to die that day. It was really that real for me. And so now when I look at motivated effort and it coming out, I look at that's the only thing that pulled me out of literally the psychological, the mental, emotional, and even spiritual fight that I was in for my life. People are like, what's Lyme disease? Literally, if you don't know what it is, look it up and then read some more. Like, if you can imagine every single part of your body being in pain, if you could imagine having a disease that people liken to, it's like malaria, AIDS, or syphilis, where it attacks your entire body. I was like, yeah, that's me. I said, plus I got some more stuff with it. They're like, what do you mean? I got co-infections. I didn't get bit just with Lyme. They gave me some friends and they were like, what? I said, then because of that, it triggered autoimmune diseases as well. I was like, so I'm literally now every day I wake up, I'm living my book out loud. And it's so crazy to realize I wrote the book before pandemic. It's coming out after the pandemic. Not only does it represent my life, but it represents everyone else's life post COVID as well. Like you're now having to come out of that place, and now it's up to you to write your story now going forward. Like you said, that legacy. And I love that. That's like my second favorite word.
Yeah. Okay, so I wrote down, for those of us who are watching us on video, whether it's now or by replay, if I'm looking away, it's because I'm either writing notes or I'm typing notes, and I typed out what you just said. Motivated effort was the only thing that pulled me out of a chronic diagnosis. I mean, honestly, this is a scourge for our time, Tanya, being in some kind of chronic diagnosis. And so you said you wrote the book before, and then you got the diagnosis after. Is that what I just understood?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I hate that.
Now I'm living it. Now I'm living it though. And it's okay. That's what pulls me out every day.
I know. I know you're a person of faith, as am I. And so I'm like, there was some divinity, divining of that through you, whereby about 2 years later, it appears, you're sitting here talking to me, having this delicious conversation, looking beautiful, sounding good, totally upright. And it seems that you would be using your own tools and strategies from the Me Project book.
Absolutely. The Me Project, the Pro Series, things my mama said, and Mind Matters. I'm literally pulling it all out just to be able to get up out of the bed every day because it's a challenge. But I look at it like if I can come up and tell my story, if you can come up and tell your story, because we know unapologetically that we have a purpose and we want to make sure that we leave a legacy, then we are doing this because we know it's that real and it's that poignant. It's that important for others to realize the same, to one, know that you have a purpose, two, start living it out, three, make sure that you leave something behind that speaks to the evidence that you were here. That literally my favorite quote by Dr. Miles Monroe is that literally that you go to the graveyard, you disappoint the cemetery, and you say, nope, I'm leaving this thing empty. I'm not dying and leaving my purpose in the ground. I'm taking everything and I'm dying empty on purpose.
I mean, honestly, I have chills. So I want to say a few things here. I have so much to say. It's like you said, I only get to answer that one question. Look, years ago, I just started speaking, Tanya. I used to be, sorry, I'm just going to talk about me for a second, but I want to, yeah. Okay.
Hey,
So I used
it's just us. They're catching up.
yeah, exactly. So, because it's the same, you and I look different. It would appear that we're different, but somewhere along the way, early on, I had this, yearning to speak, to be heard. I think it was more like in those days to be seen, like young ego, and then I tried and tried and tried and tried. And then I had an emotional breakdown. And then I stopped trying that and started moving into being in conscious awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And then I breathed, I went out in nature, I opened. All of these I'm using as real-time, real-life examples of your me, motivated effort. And then one day, with the help of Jen Lederer, the amazing, amazing Jen Lederer, I started speaking. I had already been doing lives, but then anyway, eventually just started speaking daily. So I speak daily. I go live every day at 5 p.m. Eastern. And this is a pure example of your motivated effort, that we go from the ego space to the heart space, to the soul space, where you are, because your soul is it's divined to speak. Does this resonate with you?
Absolutely. Especially, I can tell you the emotional breakdown, literally people, therapists, when I tell them that's why I said I can only do parts of my story. When I tell them the backstory behind my first project, Mind Matters, they literally are like, so you had a nervous breakdown, but you didn't have to go to the hospital, like none of that. I'm like, literally, everybody describes what happened when I tell them that it was a nervous breakdown. But it was from a year. I went through a year of deep therapy, a year of therapy, a year of honestly praying, all of that, people praying for me, to all of that, because I made a conscious decision to realize there was more to my life. And so just like you, listen, I tell everybody we're fam. And so you're my soul sister. You're my sister.
We're on, baby.
Yes. And so I get it about your story, and just about realizing I'm waking up. I don't want to go back. I know what it was like. I know how I felt. I know what I experienced. And I want to live everything out loud going forward. So whether you have a mic or you go live, whatever it is, you have to do what you need to do so that you are living on purpose.
And unapologetically so. So Tanya, the reason I love you already, and the reason that we're soul sisters already is there's authenticity in our being and in our presentation. When you do share your story, you and I, we're speaking on behalf of countless others who just haven't been able to do that yet. For all the reasons, they're afraid of speaking. They're this, they're that. Their soul hasn't, I call it the soul rising to the light, right? To enlightenment. The soul is down very deep. And as you clear, breathe, go in nature, pray, meditate, all the windows to the soul, sing, dance, all the windows to the soul. Then your soul is like, ooh, there's light up there. That's awesome. Right?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Exactly so. Exactly so. And so I want to help our friends understand. Everyone who watches my podcast knows that my next question is, why is your book worth my time? But it happens every time because the authors are so inspired who come onto my show. I'm like, oh, that's just one book. You've got 3 other books. This is your most recent book. It's your most recent divine, voice coming out of you. And Tanya has 3 other books, each of which has an accompanying journal. So I read on your website that you've got the book that you can read, and then the journal. So I wrote down when I promoted our podcast, it's like having Tanya in your pocket. Is that
that's literally what I said. The book is like me talking, speaking, oh, that's great, blah, blah, blah. But then you get that journal or you get that guide, and I'm like, I'm turning into Coach Tanya, and I'm not playing any games. And so that's literally, like you said, you're getting me at a very affordable price. Matter of fact,
So not only
And
that,
that's one of the entryways or ways I tell people, okay, you may not be ready for coaching, or you may not, can afford it. Get one of the books, because I'm gonna give it to you like I gave it to you in there, and then get the journal. And if that's something you can't do yet, follow me on social media, ask questions, comment, and get some of what you need that way. Because I promise you, if you were, like you said, as hungry as I was to get to know you and connect with you, you're going to be that hungry about yourself, about your reason, about your why, about your enlightenment, about whatever it is that you're trying to face right now at this very moment in 2022. It's out there, not just between me and Susan, but other people as well. But me and Susan got the good. She on confidence, I'm on purpose.
absolutely. I'm like leaning forward here. Okay. Another thing I want to say and share is on your website, I found your pins and buttons. So everyone, this is so great. I love everything about this. Go to Tanya's website and buy her pins. Remember, they're like the old-fashioned button, the pins that you put on your jacket or your shirt or your hat. And then this is really important, Tanya, because this is one of the pieces of my journey. I wonder if it served you. I learned the power. I talk about this in my live. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that's okay. I learned the power of visual tokens.
Yes, yes.
Right. You know what I mean? So these pins, and they have your name on it. So there's energy infused as well. Right. Each pin has a little saying, and they're cheap, 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 cheap. So you should buy 10 at a time or 100 at a time and give them away. And then they have Tanya's energy like sealed on them as well. And because when you have that visual, did that serve you? Did that work?
So it's called message merch. That's what I call it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, exactly.
Merch. And so I call it that because whether you're getting a shirt, a button, a pin, a coaster, I want to reinforce the message of helping you to do it unapologetically on purpose. So it may be a different saying or message, but it's going to be that message that you're reinforcing. And I did it because sometimes people won't go to coaching, or they may not find us or are ready to get our other products, but I can reach you with merchandise. You may not be ready to read my book, but you resonate with the message and you wear it, and that message resonates to you. It echoes my spirit in it. And then you're like, okay, yeah. Cause literally it's like whenever I've been in person, I get people, they get excited when they see them. They just start jumping up and down like, oh my God. Oh, and they started because I have them in mason jars, and they start looking at them and reading them. And I'm like, oh, I say, yeah, that's what I wanted. Good. I like that. But
exactly,
that message.
Yeah, absolutely. I call this enthusiasm, Tanya. As girls, we're born with enthusiasm. Most girls, some girls are born into trauma, of course, but girls are born with enthusiasm and power. And along the way, you come into age 6, 7, 8 in, power, with the girl with the cape and the power stance, but then shortly thereafter, power begins to be stripped away. And so does enthusiasm, Tanya. We become dimmer and dimmer and dimmer as we come into all kinds of stuff that goes on personally and then societal imposition. And so what you're doing here in speaking out, voicing out through your throat chakra, but also you're exuding energy of enthusiasm. And it's so important because we need energy of enthusiasm to get to motivated effort. Can you take a few minutes to speak about your book? Tell me, it's called The Motivated Effort Project, and I want to hear about it because I'm big into motivation.
So the book is called Motivated Effort. It starts with me. And it's because we look for it everywhere else. We look for other people to motivate us. We have to get that right song. We have to hear that right message, that marketing for us to move. And it's like, we shouldn't have to rely on anything external to motivate us or to give us the effort to do something for ourselves. No, external should not be where you're looking for, because as my mama would say, it'll fail you every time. It's all about realizing that it starts with you. And so I start to delve into that, helping you to realize the solution is inward. Wherever you're trying to look, it's inward. So start there. Then I start to help you to work to realize that as you begin to work on realizing that that solution is in you, then you begin to realize that not only is it in you, but it's sustaining you as well. And so the sustenance of it is there too. And so when it's like you can pull on it, pull on it when you need it, pull on it when you need some extra because your effort isn't there. You're not feeling it. You're, like you said, somebody's told you to dim your light and now you're looking for everybody else to help you shine. No. We're going to shine because it's already there in us. And so that's the tools, that's the no nonsense, that's the practicality that I talk about in the book and in the guide. It's just reminding you that if you want it, you got to do the work. Like, if you really want what it is out there for you, you have to be the one to do it. And so it's asking you those hard questions. Then it's pulling out more prompts and questions to get you to write about it, to get you to talk about it. Because sometimes, literally, I hear it over and over again. I'm the first person to ask them some of the questions that I asked them. I'm the first person ever to make them to think about it that way. And if that's what you can get from the Motivated Effort Project, then that's what I hope you did.
Yeah. There's something I want to say here. This is why I love my life. People, well, first of all, one of the things I loved about you right away when you reached out to me was that you told me and showed me that it's not just about you. You asked me, what do I speak about with my audiences? What do my audiences need? What do I need? So you call it win, 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 right? And my good friend, Michelle Talbert says, has hashtag we all win. And so that's the real authentic deal. In my world and in your world, I don't even have to ask you. I already know there's no competition. There's no comparing, and there's no competition. There can't be too many
Collaboration always. But
collaboration. Absolutely. We're in collaboration physically and in creating enthusiastic energy right now. I'm 100% in collaboration and in cohort. But not the old, kind of patriarchal competition. Well, if I'm a confidence coach and you're a confidence coach, it's either you or me. I'm like, no, let's talk. Let's get together, bring our energy together, create exponential synergy. I talk about purpose all the time, but today I want to say directly to our viewers and to our listeners, if Tanya's message is resonating with you, if it's possible that you have a chronic diagnosis, if it's possible that you've had your own deeply difficult personal struggles, then I want to invite you to find Tanya's book and go find her other books and journals and start doing the work. I mean it when I say, go to Tanya's website and buy the pens and wear them. Life is hard and life is fraught and there's a lot going on. So sometimes no matter how good our intentions are, we're a little bit in blurriness, in fog, even the best of us who are in good intention every day. These pens and the message merch will truly inspire you. Actually, I just answered the third question, which is what do you want people to do? But I'm like on a roll, Tanya, because I'm all about this.
I'm grateful, truly.
Yeah. Such good stuff. Do you have a Facebook page? Tell us about your Facebook page.
Yeah, you can find me on anywhere in social media under Talking with Tanya. And that's where I say you'll find that motivation, inspiration, and encouragement to help you figure out how to fit it together. Because we're all trying to figure out that jigsaw puzzle. And if there's something I can say that can give you that tool that day, pull it out of me. If there's something that I talk about or it resonates and it can help you to figure it out, hey, say so. And so that's what you'll get is that piece of me trying to figure it out, put it all together on purpose. That's what you'll get.
That's so great. I got so into it right away. I forgot to ask you how to pronounce your name. It's Tanya, Talking with Tanya. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I also do want to hit on this for a second, Tanya, because I read in some of your blog posts and some of your writings the idea of the puzzle. And I love how you invoke the puzzle. It's a universal symbol. It's a universal understanding of pieces fitting together, right? And whether it's a complex, 2,000 piece puzzle or whether it's a simple 4-piece puzzle for babies, right? We're talking about puzzle pieces fitting together. And it would seem like for your journey, this journey, I heard there were other journeys before this most recent one. You had to do some work, part of that work that you said, I wrote it down. If you want it, you have to do the work. Just the work that you said.
Yeah, like literally, and I'll leave this as my last comment. The figuring out how to fit it together comes from the fact that we don't get to make our life, we don't get the opportunity to be in charge or be over everything that happens in our life. Some of it, just like you said, gets thrown at us. Some of it gets put upon us. All those various reasons happen. And so from it, I don't want you to leave anything out as we figure out this life's journey and as you figure out how to put it to the purpose in you. I want you to pull it all in and let's figure it out. It doesn't matter the good, the bad, the ugly, what you didn't like, what you hated. Let's put it all in and let's figure it out. Because for me, I always say, use it all. That's my corporate saying that I would always say in corporate America to anybody that worked on with me in a team. Let's use it all. It doesn't matter. It's all going to work together. It's all going to make sense in the end. And so use it all is the very last thing I want to say, is because we don't have anything. 2020, no control whatsoever. But we can figure out a way how to use that now. Use what happened, use what we went through, and see how we can make good of it going forward.
Amen, sister. Tanya, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for all you do, the energy you bring to the world. And I want to wish you the very, very best. And I will surely see you soon. Take good care.